Yes, I have really enjoyed it actually. So it's a bit more of a, slightly more of a hermit-like existence for me on this one than I've done mostly in the past, but I've really enjoyed, you know, listening and thinking and making these things all come together. Well, you know, songs are about two things. One is the music, the musical idea, and then there's the lyric. Sometimes a musical idea and a lyrical idea will present themselves at the same time, but that's a bit rare. There's a couple of those on this album. One of those is Faces of Stone. I was thinking about my mother, who died about 10 years ago. We didn't have an easy relationship, and there was just some sort of way of thinking that I could achieve some sort of peace between us at this late stage in musing about things, about the latter part of her life on this earth. The theme on the whole album really is a very loose one of a day, you know, the passage of a day. Not necessarily the things you do in a day, it's the things you might think about in a day. A loose sort of day in the life, I suppose you could say. Yeah, the album was recorded mostly here in the studio in Brighton. Of course, some bits of it were recorded in a home studio I have on the farm. And some bits are little moments that I've captured one way or another on an iPhone or on a mini disc player. And some of it, particularly the latter stages of finishing the album off, refining it, the mixing is done on the houseboat, the Astoria. Well, I play to her that some of the pieces of music that I've written and started recording. And if she shows an interest in one, I'll give her a recording of it on MP3 or something, which she'll have on her phone or an iPod, and she'll walk listening to it, and always comes up with something brilliant that hits some nail or other on the head. There are lots of moments when I want something. I think this needs an electric piano, this needs a Hammond organ, this needs, you know, something else, a bass, and you know, I'm a bit impatient, so I tend to just get on and do that myself at the time, and often I find later that I rather like what I did, and so I then sort of try to perfect it myself or get someone else to replay it a bit better. I mean, I'll pick up anything and have a little go at it, and if it excites me, turns me on in some way or another, I will try to get something out of it that I can use on a track. Yeah. You know, I'm still playing my favourite old black Stratocaster that I've been playing since 1970. I'm playing a gold-top Gibson Les Paul on a couple of tracks. I'm playing my Gretsch black Duo Jet, which has a particular, very particular, lovely tone to it, and several acoustic guitars, usually Martins. This one's a D18 from 1945, a D35, which is the one that I played on Wish You Were Here originally, which I still have sitting around. There were a lot of moments during the making of this album when I wished Rick were here. I described already, you know, playing keyboards myself. I suspect that most of the keyboard things I played on there, if Rick had been around, I'd have got him to do, and he would have done it better than me, no question. I've got Jules Holland playing piano on a track. I've got a lovely American sax player called Colin Stetson playing on a track called The Girl in the Yellow Dress, which is also the one that Jules is playing on. That one also has my sort of friend Rado Closer, who was in the very early version of Pink Floyd, and who I've known literally since birth. Who else have I got? Robert Wyatt's playing cornet on a track. and we have David Crosby and Graham Nash singing on A Boat Lies Waiting. Guy Pratt, John Caron and Stevie, who have been part of my On an Island one. Guy and John, in fact, go back with me to 87, I think, so quite a long time. Both of them are appearing in one form or another on this album. Stevie's played most of the drums, and of course Phil Manzanera plays a couple of tracks as well. And that always seems to have a bit of a melody to it, a bit of rhythm to it, a bit of sort of syncopation, and I always rather enjoy listening to it. So once, when I was at a station, been visiting some friends somewhere and I was about to head back to England, I took my iPhone out and held it up in record mode and waited for the next announcement till my arm was weary, because the announcements weren't coming quite often enough, and recorded the sound and brought it back and started fiddling with it and wrote a little song, and wrote a little tune, I should say, really, that Polly loved as well, and pretty soon we had the words to Rattle That Lock. I always like to try and think of places which will be very memorable and beautiful. You know, if you can possibly choose beautiful, preferably outdoor venues where you will create something different every night because of the different venue, and people will come away with a strong memory of a special occasion. Yes, I think we're going to do some more shows in 2016. We're intending to keep going through the summer of 2016.